meeting me for the first time, I'm Melanie Parker. I'm the founder of Party Plan 123, and I am your super enthusiastic trainer to teach you how to never ever run out of bookings again. What I'm taking you through is a 1-month action plan that we have as a resource available for each and every one of you on our website. And I'm going to step you through this rather than just giving you this plan already laid out. I want to show you how you actually build up and what you do in each week of a calendar month in a practical way to go from 0 to hero. Now, let's take you through a practical step here. I've done this in a way that we're going to make it realistic to the average direct seller in today's world. So most of us have a goal when we join our companies that we want to be doing maybe 2 or 3 parties per week. That can give us a really great income for not many hours worked. So we are going to take you through a practical session with a goal of a consultant who wants to end up with 3 parties a week that go ahead. So 3 parties a week going ahead, not just 3 parties a week booked in. We want to have a little bit extra as what I call your insurance policy, just in case you get a cancellation or a postponement along the way. This party plan consultant is available to work about 15 hours per week. So is that quite common to your story? Are we in a similar ballpark to your situation? How many parties a week would you love to be doing? How many hours a week are you available to work? Now, for me personally, I actually needed to be doing a lot more than this because I needed to do about 5 to 6 parties per week to be able to maintain the regular, steady and reliable income that I needed for all of my living expenses. So I was doing my party plan business full time, and to be able to earn the money to pay all of my living expenses, for me, I actually needed 5 to 6 parties per week. So I actually did a lot more than what you will see on this calendar today, but I want to be realistic because I know that not everyone is working at that level. A lot of us are trying to fit this in with part-time work or with a family or with study and everything else that's going on in our lives. So we're going to break this down into 4 different categories, and we're going to begin with talking about promotional work. Now remember, I talked about how I've had to rely on this and practically use this exact strategy 3 major times in my direct sales career. So I'll tell you about that in a moment, but I want to start on this training. I need my green highlighter because what we're going to talk about first is promotional work. So basically this first category is all about what can we do to be able to find brand new hostesses that are outside of our circle of contacts of friends and family, because I know that by now you would have asked all your friends and family, the people in your circle of contacts, if they would love to book a party with you, join your company and become a valued customer, right? You've already done that. This is more designed for you if you are stuck and you've got no bookings at the moment and you don't know where to go to. Or if you have a little bit of bookings but nowhere near as many as what you need. This is also perfect for you if you are brand new. So promotional work. I'm going to follow this calendar. I'm going to look for all of my green sections on here. I've got 1 month. You can see the month starts on Friday the 1st and it goes to Sunday the 31st of the month. And we're going to schedule out what we would do to start with nothing and end up doing 3 parties per week. So I'll start off at the beginning of the month. We need to do some promotional work, and we've decided that on a Friday morning, we're going to place competition lead boxes between 10 in the morning and 12 noon. So from 10 until 12, we're going to place competition lead boxes. Now, as I'm taking you through these ideas, I am sure that some of you will not know what I'm talking about when I'm referring to these particular strategies. I'll give you a brief overview today, but We train all of this in detail in our biggest and our best course, which is called the Roadmap to Party Plan Success. And that's the 6-module program where we explain all of this. But to give you a brief overview, competition lead boxes are where you can decide to have a giveaway that you run as a prize draw. And quite often I will do that for a calendar month. And I might have one prize that gets given away at the end of the month. And I place competition entry boxes into local businesses around the area. I find that fast food shops work well, hairdressers, even schools, childcare centres, fitness centres, anywhere that people are waiting around in a local business, and they tend to look around the office or the room that they are in. So they have a little prize drawing slip that they fill in, and that becomes a lead that you can follow up and work with. You can either call them and offer a bonus if they'd like to book a party with you, or I'm going to talk to you about a way that we can invite them. If they say no to booking their own party, we can invite them to come to your mystery hostess party. So there's no pressure for them to have their own party, and they can come along as a guest to yours and join in the fun. And quite often once they do that, then because they've experienced the product and they've seen you do a whole party demonstration, then they are in a position to say yes to the free products and host their own party after that. So on Friday, we'll place some competition lead boxes. That's our first green action. On the weekend, there is a great local market. So from the hours of 7 a.m. until 2 p.m., we are going to be at a vendor event. Now this can really be anywhere that you can have a small table display of your products and be somewhere that people are walking by and having a look at your products. You have an opportunity to tell them a little bit about your products, help them to fall in love with it, and then give them an awesome offer. Give them a special offer while you're at the vendor event, where you might say something like, now today, I'm actually here because I'm looking for people who would prefer free products. What I normally do is in-home parties where the hostess gets freebies and discounts for gathering all of her friends together for a bit of a social party. And so what I'm doing today from this market or vendor event or fundraiser, school fete, wherever you are doing this, what I'm doing here today is giving every single person who books a party from here an extra $50 gift voucher as a thank you from me. That's on top of everything else that our company always gives to our hostesses. That's a thank you from me for helping me to meet people, new people in the local area. So if you did have a party, would you prefer to do a weekday or a weekend? When I take people through that strategy at a vendor event, I am maximizing the opportunity to get bookings on the day. I absolutely have the intention when I'm at a vendor event to walk away from that vendor event with bookings in my calendar. I found that personally most times when I was doing a morning market like this, and I did so many of them, I actually love them. They're a lot of fun. Takes a lot of energy, but it's also lots of fun. Personally, my average results were getting somewhere between maybe 3 to 5 bookings for spending that morning at the vendor event. And then shortly I'll be talking about how to get those events to those bookings to go ahead so that your time has not been wasted. Does that sound good? What else do we do? In the next week, we're going to keep doing some more promotional work, and we've got some time to spend in our business on Thursday. So there's a little fundraiser event happening in our local area. You might have some ladies, you might have like a retirement village, an aged nursing home where they're doing a fundraising social catch-up, and they're raising funds to be able to, perhaps help the people in the home go on social events and have days out. And so you might have some kind of fundraiser event where you provide the entertainment or even run a party for them, but the sales that you make, you're giving a percentage of that back to the home, to the nursing home, to the aged care place. I mean, there's so many places you can do this. You could even do this at schools for school fetes. You could do this in childcare centres. Once you start to step outside the box and think about ideas like this to creatively do promotional work and how to get bookings when you have none, there's actually no limit. And I would love for you to share some ideas in the comments and tell me what you have been doing to be able to reach out and find brand new bookings. So I'm going to do a fundraiser event at lunchtime there. And then in the afternoon on my way home, so about 2 o'clock, I'm going to check my lead boxes, because that lead box has been in that shop now for a good 5 or 6 days, and it's very important to drop back in there, and we need to find out if it's working. Are there entry forms getting put into that box? If you do have entry forms in there, take the ones out that have been filled in, and then check with the business owner if it's okay to leave that box in there for longer, because remember, you're running that competition for the whole month and there'll be one prize draw winner at the end. So keep it in there if it's working. If it's not working, if you go back after 5 or 6 days and there's nothing in there, you need to move it. Pull it out of that shop and don't take it home. No, no, no. Take that lead box, walk around other shops, and don't go home until you find a new place for that lead box to be working in. Does that make sense? That's how you get real results from doing activities like this. You give yourself goals that are based on results. Instead of just saying, oh, I'll put lead boxes out and if I get leads, that's great. You're going to say, I'm going to put lead boxes out. If it's not collecting leads, I will move it. I will not take that box home. I need that box to be actively working for me. Week number 3, we're going to do another kind of vendor event, but this one will be a little bit different. We're going in from 10 till 12 on a Wednesday morning, and we're going to be at a fitness centre vendor event. Now, I'm in Australia, so I'm going to put my Australian spelling there today. Centre in Australia is spelt like that, but I know for our US followers, it's an ER. So a fitness centre vendor event. I've done events like this when it is during the week and there's no markets or expos or big events going on, and I need to be finding a way to actively get out there and meet some brand new people. So going into little places like fitness centres, hairdressers, I've done this in as well. Also done this in childcare centres. We can go in there and just have a small table set up somewhere in the foyer or the entryway of their business, and we can just talk to their customers that are coming in or out on their way in and on their way out. So we're not interrupting the business, but we are just talking to them as they're passing by. Now, I've done this with approval of the business, of course, so it's all set up beforehand. They know we're coming, they've agreed, and I would normally offer something back to that business owner as a thank you for being there. Quite often, I'll just say, look, we'll run this as a party. Any sales or bookings that we get today, whatever the normal host rewards would be for that, so what the hostess would normally get, I'll give those bonuses back to you, and you can use them as prizes, you can use them as gifts for your staff, you can use it as raffles for your customers, or you can keep it for yourself as a treat. So that's another way that you can do vendor events, but in a smaller scale, where you know, a lot of people write to me and they say, Melanie, I'm finding it hard to get into vendor events because in my area, there's already a lady that's booked into this one or booked into that one, and I can't get in. So this is a solution to that. You go to small businesses. They're not going to be booked into all of the small businesses, I'll guarantee you. Now, we've got one more little thing I want to talk you through in detail, and then I'm going to share with you when I used this strategy 3 times in my direct sales career. Now, let's come down to Sunday the 24th of the month, and we are going to hold a mystery hostess party. So this is a party that you are hosting yourself, but it's not just for you to be inviting your friends and your family to, because you've probably already done that, right? You've probably had a launch party, you've probably had home shows like over and over again. And your family and your friends, they definitely know what you do. They definitely know that they can buy products from you, book a party with you, and join your company. So this is not a strategy to get friends and family to. This is all about inviting the people that say no to these other things here. All of these other events, we are asking people if they want to book a party. We are asking them if they want to say yes to free products for hosting their own demonstration. All of the people that say no at these other little green events on our calendar, our next drop close or our next strategy is to then offer for them to come to our mystery hostess party. So you invite them to your party. Because it's a public event and you're inviting all of these people, I strongly recommend you do that in a public location. I often would do this in a cafe, in a restaurant, in a quiet time. Obviously, that's been pre-arranged with the restaurant. I don't pay them for it. I just organise. Is it okay to come in? We might just buy some drinks from them. So it's providing some business for the cafe as well. So how are you liking that so far? That's promotional work. So far we've talked about promotional work to be able to get you from zero to hero, how to get bookings from scratch. We're aiming to end up with 3 bookings per week by the end of the month, and we can work for 15 hours per week. Remember I said that I actually followed this exact plan at 3 major times in my direct sales career. For me, those 3 times were when I first started, because I was not living local to my friends and family. I had moved interstate a little bit before I started my party plan career. I couldn't get my business off the ground by relying on friends and family. So I had to basically go out and make it happen in other ways. And so this is the plan that I followed right from the very beginning when I started. Then I moved again. So then I moved interstate 18 months after I had started in direct sales, and I moved to an area that I absolutely knew no one, like no one at all. I just loved the coast. I wanted to live in a quiet town out of the city. It was very pretty. It was beautiful. And I wanted to be able to survive and make a living from my parties. So I did this again, and within 4 to 6 weeks, I had built it back up to my original income where I was doing 5 to 6 parties per week. So moved into a brand new area where I knew no one. 6 weeks later, I was back to doing 5 to 6 parties per week. So you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm showing you how I got there. You can grab that copy of the calendar, write the word calendar in the comments so that you can get this, and you follow it too. The third time that I had to do this again was a very sad time, because one company that I had worked with closed down, and I wanted to keep going in my direct sales career, so I then joined a different company. And I wasn't sure how my previous customers and hostesses were going to react to that situation, so I wanted to make sure that I was proactive and prepared by kicking this action plan into place again. So that was the third time that I did all of this. So we've talked about promotional work, and we've covered competition lead boxes, vendor events or like promotional displays, and mystery hostess parties. When you do that mystery hostess party, by the way, you give away whatever the host would normally get from that party as prize draws, and you raffle off prizes at the end of the party. And so that gives an incentive for those people to want to come to that party, because you're doing prize draws and extra giveaways. So the next thing we're going to talk about is hostess coaching, because when you are getting bookings from all of these types of promotional work and events, hostess coaching is absolutely essential if you want those parties to go ahead. Because remember, the whole goal here is we want 3 parties a week to happen. We don't just want 3 parties a week booked in and then they cancel and then they postpone and then they cancel. Like, that's just depressing. No one wants that, do they? So, hostess coaching is the answer. I know that many of you don't like doing it. Many of you procrastinate. Many of you, you know what, it's not actually that you don't know how to do it. Most of you do know how to do your host coaching. We just don't do it. I was exactly the same. When it came to the phone calls, I was so nervous when it came to doing phone calls for hostess coaching. I used to hide away in a tiny little room in my house so that my husband couldn't hear me on the phone, making a fool of myself. But the reality is, with practice, I got a lot better. But you know what? Zig Ziglar, who I had the privilege of seeing in person many years ago before he passed, Zig Ziglar is an inspirational and success coach who helped the world understand how to push through the tough times. And I remember Zig Ziglar always talks about, if you don't feel like doing something, just do it. And once you start doing it, you will then feel like doing it. So in other words, when it comes to hostess coaching and phone calls, even though we might not enjoy it and we don't feel like doing it, just do it anyway. And then you will find the motivation and the fun picks up once you are seeing the success and those parties are going ahead. So again, if you need to know how to do the hostess coaching and exactly the type of hostess coaching that I did, all of that is inside the Roadmap to Party Plan Success, which is our biggest and best training. Okay, so host coaching, I am going to talk you very quickly through how to do it, but where do we do it? Now we're going orange here. I find that as soon as I get bookings, because remember, you'll be getting bookings from these vendor events that you're doing here. Hostess coaching needs to kick in straight away, and on a Monday, I usually would spend my time doing hostess letters. So the first thing I would do is send out some letters in the mail. And then, remember too, from the vendor event, I'm going to have leads to follow up on. So I could be doing some vendor phone calls here in follow-up. Okay, so this is kind of like, you know, your hostess letters getting ready, following up your leads that you're getting from here. Once I post out those letters, I then make phone calls as soon as those letters arrive. So the first phone call I try to do the day that I think they might receive that letter. So usually in the evenings around, you know, roughly 7 to 8 or 6:30 until 8:30 is the kind of time of day that I would do my hostess coaching phone calls. So because I've got some bookings from the vendor event, I've posted out the letter. If I think those letters will already arrive the next day, I'd start making phone call number 1. So on the day that I meet them, I give them the party pack, that's step number 1, talk them through how the host rewards work. Then we move on to sending out a letter in the mail. Then we move into phone call number 1, which is just a quick and easy phone call. Now, as these hostesses are booked in the coming weeks, we're going to be needing to do more phone calls. So then on this Tuesday night from 6:30 until 8, you're doing more host coaching calls. Now, if you've got bookings starting to happen around here, these phone calls is phone call number 2, which is where you're taking them through the checklist or the hostess tips form, which we give you in the Roadmap to Party Plan Success. And it just basically tells you exactly what to do and say for your hostess coaching so that you don't have a brain freeze and forget exactly how to help your hostess. So these kind of phone calls I get into the habit of doing every week. So let me just repeat this. I have a 1 to 31 folder that helps me to track which phone calls are due on what day. Again, in the Roadmap to Party Plan Success, we even send you out the 1 to 31 tabs and the organizational system. So it's all done for you and ready to go. And then of course there's heaps of video training and audio training, how to do that. And so really my regular habit is on Mondays, I'm doing host letters. So that's really happening every Monday. Okay, so Host Letters. That becomes a weekly schedule, because remember, we're just talking about setting you up to start getting 3 bookings per week happening here. But then you're going to be doing those parties so well that you are getting more than 1 booking per party from the parties that you do. So then that means that in all of these weeks to come, for months and months ahead, we should never ever be running out of bookings again. And that's our motto with Party Plan 123, and that's what we are all about. That's my mission, and my purpose is to help you to learn how to do that and see that happen in your business. So Host Letters, phone calls. So we're starting to get busy here, so we might have even more phone calls to do. So this is where you start to get more into your weekly schedule. Now, let me just check. I've missed, we would do 6:30 till 8 in this week, phone calls. So again, I'm just following this here, okay? And phone calls here, 6:30 until 8. Now, I've got to get my highlighter and mark all this down as, what color are we? Orange. Okay, so this is all to do with host coaching. Host coaching. So step number 1, take them through the party pack and explain how the host rewards work. What's in it for them? Why do they want the party? Number 2, post a letter or a card in the mail. Number 3 is phone call number 1, which is done only a few days after they made the booking. Number 4 is phone call number 2, which is roughly about 5 days before the party date, and you just talk them through the hostess tips form inside the roadmap to party plan success, so you know you've covered all your bases. Step number 5 is party arrival, so showing up on time to prepare, to get your host ready, to show off her wish list. Again, all of that is in here. What else? Parties. Okay, so we've been actively working on promotional work to get bookings. So realistically, I've made this so realistic to my experience and my results. So when you're at vendor events, you will be able to start to get a couple of them booking in within 2 or 3 weeks. A lot of them will sort of book 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. So by the time we get to the 15th of the month here, we have started to get bookings. So we have a lovely lady named Sally Walton booked in for a party there. Then on the Saturday at 2 p.m, we have Mary Ward. So party, party, party. Who's excited to get party bookings? Who wants to never ever run out of bookings again? Say me into the comments and give us some hearts and show us some thumbs up on the screen. Say me, me, me if you never want to run out of bookings again. That's what we're all about. Okay, so more parties are starting to happen the next week. I'll just write first names in here to make it nice and easy. We've got Jennifer, and then at 2 p.m. we've got Sue. Now, this last week, all of this promotional work is starting to come to fruition. So here's the magic in the movement. We now have 4 parties booked for this weekend. Fran is booked in for Friday night. We've got Tanya on Saturday morning. We've got Joanne on Saturday afternoon. And then we've got Samantha on Sunday afternoon. So let's go back to our original goal. We can work 15 hours a week. We want or we need to have 3 parties to go ahead to guarantee that we're going to make the income that we need from our party plan business. If we want to have 3 parties a week go ahead, we need to have a little bit more than that booked in, just in case one of these ladies decide to postpone or, worst case scenario, cancel. So that's why at the end of the month, we've got 4 bookings, and most times you'll find at least 3 of those are going to go ahead. That's kind of the law of averages there. One thing left. Let's talk about training. Training. That's really what you're doing here with me right now. Training is all about learning how to do something, and it gives you the confidence to be able to go out there and put things into action. I very strongly recommend that you be doing some type of focused and dedicated training every single week in your direct sales business. Even if you're only aiming to do 3 parties per week and you have 15 hours per week, my best suggestion would be that you're investing 1 hour per week as a recommendation to be able to see this turn to reality for you. So again, I want to give you a practical example. Now some weeks will change a little bit too. So I've given an example here where there might be a big conference that's going on for your company. So you might have a conference or a company meeting that could even happen, once a month or something like that. If there are events that your company is putting on and they've invited you to be there, do yourself a favor and go to them, because it's all about being, belonging to your company, being a part of the group, having that connection, being able to talk to the people that are going through the same things as you, being inspired by the people who are up on stage and getting awards, being able to learn what to do to be successful, to see the latest products, to know the latest news from your company. So company conferences, training meetings, go to them. When I was starting off in direct sales, my leader did a weekly team meeting on the weeks that we didn't have the big company meeting. So for me, every Wednesday night was a team meeting. No, I tell a lie. It was every second week with my leader, and then once a month we had a company meeting. So if we've got one there, it would happen again here. Oops, I got phone calls in the wrong time there. So 7 till 9, that would be my team meeting. What else are we doing for training? Oh, this lady is doing a webinar with Melanie Parker on how to go from bad to great. And she's going to do that on this Wednesday night here. Now that's actually a different date to when ours is. So, whoops, I haven't left room here. So this is 8 p.m. She's doing a webinar with Party Plan 123. And in the last week, she's decided to get the roadmap to Party Plan success. So she's going to spend a dedicated hour with no interruptions, and she's going to go through her course, Roadmap to Party Plan Success course. She's going to do some study there. So what I'm showing you here is to please make it a regular routine and a habit to upskill yourself, to keep yourself motivated, and to do training events. I still do training in my business today. It's important for all of us to never stop learning. So what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Did that help you with a practical action plan of steps that you can take today? How to get bookings when you have none. Start from scratch. We want to help you to go from zero to hero. It's been my absolute pleasure to share this with you today. So please pass this on. Now it is my wish and desire that you go and share this post out with your team. Let's help them to really truly put this into action. I know a lot of times we talk about doing vendor events and hostess calls and training and all this type of thing, but how often have you seen it laid out on a calendar with times and dates and color coding of exactly what to do? Is that the first time you've seen something like this? Right, first time into the comments. I'd love to hear if this is something new for you. Or many of you watching will be leaders and you already know this and you probably already do it, but it is a great reminder for you. So if that's you, write reminder into the comments.